In January of 2009, at one of Kansas City's best barbecue restaurants, a group of friends decided to organize a bike ride to raise money for cancer research. 10 months later, on October the 3rd, the LSArmyKC of Kansas City held the first annual Tour de Barbecue bike ride to benefit the Lance Armstrong Foundation and the University of Kansas Cancer Center. Far exceeding all expectations, 450 cyclists from 8 states answered the call and made the inaugural ride a tremendous success. Just 1 year later, 2,000 riders converged on the Power and Light District to make the Tour de Barbecue the largest cycling event in Kansas City. While the Tour de Barbecue is a terrific celebration, the ultimate goal of the LSArmyKC of Kansas City is to help the KU Cancer Center in its quest to achieve National Cancer Institute designation. At a time when 1 in 2 Americans will be diagnosed with cancer at some point during their life, this is a disease we simply can't ignore.
We've got a very close group of friends, and we had one of our friends, Jerry, was battling cervical cancer at the time, and it was metastatic at the time that we were preparing for the Tour de Barbecue last year. So that's how we got involved initially.
I know for me it was so much of focusing on her husband, as our friend Jerry, and just watching her husband just become what a true husband and father should be. And I just hope someday, if ever challenged, I can be what he was, and he is, to his family.
It was a really rough 2.5 years for her. She just passed this last June, so it's this year's kind of a bittersweet for our group. Last year we rode in honor of Jerry. She was there at the finish line, which was just awesome to see her there. She was in the midst of chemo at the time, so all of us training for a 60-mile ride just paled in comparison to what Jerry and so many other cancer survivors and people affected by cancer, battle every day.
I can't really remember a time in my life when I didn't know what cancer was. My grandma was first diagnosed when I was 5, and she, over the course of 20 years, had probably 4 or 5 diagnoses, and then she was the strongest person that I've ever met. And then after she passed, I had an uncle and a good family friend that passed away as well as an aunt. And then this last year I've had 1 more aunt and 2 more uncles that have passed away from cancer as well. So it's definitely, I think being a part of this is almost a way of coping and dealing with getting through all that too has helped tremendously.
So I've seemed to have always been affected by cancer. I lost my grandmother when I was 18 to cancer, and I lost my mom when I was 32 to cancer. And it doesn't matter what age you are, you're always too young to lose your mom. You could be 82 and your mom could be 100 and you're still too young. And you have this feeling while they're going through it that you just want to help.
At the KU Medical Center and Hospital, great effort is being put forth to achieve National Cancer Institute designation. And recently, a commission review found that the KU Cancer Center was on pace to meet its application date, which is welcome news at a time when help is most needed.
I get phone calls every week from friends, acquaintances, business associates, relatives, you name it, who have been recently diagnosed with cancer. And they're looking for a safe harbor and a recommendation on what they can do to have the best chance to beat this disease. So, we are constantly reminded of the need to bring an NCI-designated cancer center here. It's unrelenting. It never stops.
What we're doing cannot be done by 13 people or 50 people or even 100 people. It's going to take literally every single person in Kansas City giving $5, sending a note to their elected official, driving their friend who has to go get chemo treatment. It's going to be everybody doing their part to fight cancer.
Well, I think one of the most important things for people to realize is that cancer is a solvable problem. It is an extraordinarily complex problem with well over 200 different kinds of cancer, and each one has to have its own unique solution. But we've been making steady progress against this disease since the mid-70s.